Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen Sassy, and I am the consultant manager at the Wilkes University Small Business Development Center. Thanks for joining us for this pandemic series. I'm not sure if you have been on the other two seminars or if this is the first one you attended. So I will kind of talk about our center a little bit. So I do apologize if you heard it, before and you're familiar with our services already, but it's just, part of the process. But hopefully, when you finish with this seminar today, you're going to know how to write a business plan. That's pretty much my main objective. I want you to know, what the business plan outline is, the important sections of it and how to write the plan. Now, okay, I'm sorry. So again, objectives for the presentation, I'm going to introduce the Small Business Development Center and kind of give you an overview of what our services are and who we service and how we run. Develop the basis for a business plan. It's important to know that, the business plan is going to be used as a tool or a roadmap for your business. And you want to make sure, one of the main things you get from your plan is that it's a feasible idea. The business you want to start, is feasible. And if you open it, of course, you're not going to lose money or go under. And then finally, identifying the must-have sections of the business plan. So there are different sections. They're all going to be talked about today. There's an outline in the presentation for you. And I believe that we could share the slides with you. I don't think that should be a problem. So if you would like that, just let us know. But just so you know, I'm not sure, how much or how familiar you are with the Small Business Development Center. But all in all, there's actually 17 small business development centers across the state of Pennsylvania, and every county is covered by a small business development center. We're a nonprofit organization, so our services are at no cost to our clients. And we get a lot of our funding from the SBA, DCED, and Wilkes University. A lot of people think that we are the SBA. That's incorrect. We are not the SBA. We just get a large portion of funding from them to operate. And our center does not offer any type of financing for small businesses. The main bulk of our work is getting you, to write a business plan, helping you, lead you on leading you through the consulting process with the business plan, developing financial projections, research you may need, marketing, and then if you are looking for any type of financing for your business, to get you to that lender to ask for the financing and have a presentation piece in hand. So again, we help with startups. We do work with existing businesses. A lot of times the businesses come back to us because they want to expand. And they're actually required to write a business plan and put together financial projections. So we help with existing businesses too. We can help with marketing, HR issues, really anything that pertains to a small business, except for legal issues and tax issues. And that is because of the liability involved in both of those areas. So if any of that comes up during the consulting process, we have to refer you over to an accountant or an attorney. Wilkes covers 5 counties: Carbon, Columbia, Sullivan, Luzerne, and Schuylkill. That's our county territory. So, that's who we work with. If you're in Lackawanna County or further north, our sister center, is Scranton SBDC. But this is where, we have our main offices in Luzerne, and then we have some outreach offices in the rest of these counties. So anyone have questions about the Small Business Development Center and what we do? If not, we're going to just kind of move on to what the agenda for today is going to be. We're going to cover basically 4 different things. Why are you writing a business plan? when is it a good time to write the business plan, the contents and tools, and then, some of the pitfalls that I've seen with clients when they're developing a business plan, or why they, have come to us for help because they tried to do their business plan on their own and then they didn't receive financing. So we're going to go through all of that today. Why we write a business plan. At our office, we firmly believe that even a lot of times people come to us and they're not looking for any type of financing. They're just to start a business, and they need to do some basic things. But our office, we really, strongly suggest that if you are starting a business, you should have a business plan in place. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's many reasons to write a business plan. Decision-making, that could be one of them. If you have a plan laid out and ready to go, and all aspects of your business, it really is going to help you in the long run to make decisions. If you're outlining, your short-term goals versus your long-term goals, maybe down the road something comes up and you're going to think to yourself, hey, this is my long-term goal. This makes sense to do it this way, whatever that decision may be. Communication. If you need any type of financing, the lending source, whether it's a commercial business loan, whether it's the SBA, whether it's an economic development agency, they are going to require you to have a business plan in place with 3 years worth of financial projections. Analysis. A great thing about the business plan roadmap is it's going to answer a lot of questions you may never have thought of before. And if you need financing for your business, you're going to have to develop financial projections, and you're going to have to show the bank that you could actually, prove through your cash flow statements, you could repay that loan. So that is going to be another reason you're going to want to write the business plan for analysis. It also could be a feasibility study. So even if you aren't looking for financing, I always suggest with my clients to, put together some financial projections just so that they know how much money they need to make, taking into consideration all the expenses and so on and so forth to keep the business afloat and to grow. It's a guide to action, how to do things and when to do things. I mean, look at what's been happening lately with the pandemic. So many small businesses have suffered because, they weren't really sure what to do when their business shut down. So hopefully the business plan will be a call to action for you. Maybe have some different backup ideas in that plan if something does happen, like a pandemic or a cybersecurity attack. Another thing about the business plan is making sure that your employees have their responsibilities down pat. So if something does happen with the business, who exactly is going to take over and try to correct it or fix it before you lose any type of money. So these are just some reasons why we write the plan. When should you write a plan? Of course, before you open your doors to a new business, you should have a plan in place. And we say this, on a regular basis. Your business plan should be a live document. So it's not just one and done deal. Like, this is something that you're going to want to visit, revisit, and then, keep as a live document. And we suggest about every 6 months to pull it out and really do the analysis on it and update it. If you need money, again, we talked about the lenders. They're going to require you to have a business plan. They won't lend you any money unless your business plan is complete. Again, as a regular part of running your business. And again, remembering that it's an ongoing process. So, it's not something that you just let fall by the wayside. It's something that should be, visited quite frequently. Just as some extra information for you. So in writing your business plan. The lender is going to require you to have the plan in place. There's actually 3 sections to your business plan: your narrative, your financial projections, and your appendix. Today, we're mostly going to be going over the narrative section and the outline. So this is going to be all the written material for the plan. And then we're going to talk about what goes into the appendix. Financial projections, you're going to hear me refer to them a lot. We're actually not going to go over them today. They're saved for next Tuesday's seminar. But just so you know that there are 3 parts: the narrative section, the financial projection section, and then the appendix section. And today, the bulk of it is going to be the narrative. So this slide right here is going to show your business plan outline and all the important sections that need to go into your business plan. A good rule of thumb is your business plan should be about 4 to 12 pages, single spaced, written in 3rd person. And this is what you have. Your executive summary is going to be your first section. Your business description, products and services, location, competition, marketing plan, ownership, management and personnel, the financial analysis, which will actually be an explanation of your financial projections in written form, and then your appendix section. So we're going to move on to the executive summary, which is going to be the first section in your business plan. And some people think that this is, and the lenders will say it too, this is probably going to be the most important section of your business plan. And the reason why is because it's an overview of the entire plan. A lot of people prefer to write their executive summary last because it's just easier for them to go back to it and do a synopsis of everything. But these are the key points that you're going to want to hit on in your executive summary. You're going to list the business name, the owner's name, the address, and then the phone number of the business. And you're going to see as you go through this outline, some of these sections, some of these things come up more than once. It's a little bit repetitive, but this is just how the lenders like to see things flow. So again, like putting your business name in, the owner's name, you're going to see this come up again in the business description. But this is just to make sure, you know, everything's in place and you know, this information is included in there. I've actually gotten business plans in the past where people have never put their names on it. So I have no idea whose plan it is or what it's, you know, who's doing it. So including your name, the owner's name, the address and phone number of the business is certainly important. You want to talk about the nature of the business. This is going to be about a paragraph long. It's not going to be, you know, an in-depth discussion. Just basically discuss the products and services that you plan to offer through your business, because later on there is a whole section devoted to products and services where you're going to explain everything thoroughly. The lenders, if you're looking for financing, like to see that the person who is looking to open the business has experience in the industry. So the next paragraph, you want to write about the owner's experience in the industry and any type of education that you've done that falls into the industry category that for the business you want to open, and then your work experience. Now, this should not be your entire resume. It should just be, you know, the business that you want to start and the industry that you're getting involved with. You want to list your form of organization. So are you opening the business as a sole proprietorship? Are you going to be a partnership? Are you an LLC? And then if you are seeking financing, in this section, you want to list the loan amount, how much money you need, how much you as the owner will be putting into the business. And then you want a complete breakout of the sources and uses and funds. So if you are seeking $50,000 to open your business, what is that money going towards? Is it going to be $10,000 for equipment, $5,000 for furniture and fixtures? Maybe you have to do some renovations to a location and you need money for that. So it's really important in this section to list how much money you need, how much the owner is going to contribute, and then what exactly is the money going to be used for. After this is written, you can move on to your business description. Again, this is where it gets a little bit repetitive. Again, in this section, you want to write your business name, the owner's name, address of business, and phone number. You want to include your days and hours of operation. You want to come up with a mission statement and kind of explain your vision for the business. One thing you don't want to do is overdo this section. Sometimes, we have people who like to tell their whole life story and kind of get into a vision of why they're doing this. A paragraph on this is usually good. And then in this section, you want to outline what your short-term goals for the business are. So maybe at first you're going to, seek financing and then, provide your products and services, get some type of faithful client base, get some advertising out there. And those are your short-term goals. After you list them, you're going to want to talk about what your long-term goals are, how you plan to grow the business. Maybe a year down the road, will you be offering some type of new product or service? Really, the lenders, if you are seeking financing, like to see that the business owner is thinking about growth. And listing your long-term goals for the business actually establishes this for them.
Tracy, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you did lose audio, and we had a few people ask if you can repeat from after the mission statement, the vision into the short-term goals.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, so I just said the mission statement and vision for the business. It shouldn't be. It should be about one paragraph long. You don't want to get into a lot of fluff in this section. Kind of stick to the point. The bank likes factual information more than, it's your live stream. And I know a lot of people who want to open their own business, it is their live stream, but kind of stick to a more factual basis for it. And then were you guys good with the short-term and long-term goals? Did you hear me with that?
It looks like they missed the short-term goal.
Okay, so short-term goals are just basically what you're doing right now. So if you're seeking financing for the business, initially these are the products and services you're going to be offering versus your long-term, which is, maybe a year or two down the road. You'd like to, if you're opening a restaurant, expand on your food items. Maybe you won't offer alcohol in the beginning, whereas, 2 years, 3 years, you're going to be looking to purchase a liquor license. Your next section is your products and services section. This is probably going to be the second most important section of the business plan. And you want to completely list all the products and services the business will offer. And then you want to provide a description for each one. And I know for some industries, this may seem crazy, And I always use this as an example. I had a client once, she was doing a hair salon, and, you know, she would put in her business plan, I'm going to cut hair. And I said, well, you need to, you know, kind of explain what ways you'll be cutting hair, the different things that you could do, you know, layers, buzz cut, so on and so forth. Because you have to assume that the lender or whoever is reading this plan knows nothing about your industry. So, you know, I always say my husband, who goes to the hairdresser and just kind of gets it buzzed off, would know nothing about layers and so on and so forth, what goes into cutting a woman's hair and color and so on and so forth. So, you know, just assume your audience knows nothing about the industry. And then in this section, you want to list your top 3 suppliers with their address and then what they're going to supply you with. And then pricing for your products and services. The next section is your location section. Are you purchasing a new building to run your business out of, or are you going to be renting space? Either or, if you're purchasing the building or renting, you want to list the square footage. Any type of renovations that need to be done to make the business operable. So if you go back to that executive summary and you list in those sources and uses of funds that you need money for renovations, you really want to explain these renovations in this section. You want to talk about restrooms. The building is going to have to be handicap accessible. And then, of course, what the parking situation is. A cost for your utilities. So heat, water, sewer. You want a list of them here. Any type of furniture and fixtures needed. So this is not actually equipment. This would be desks, computers, you know, light fixtures, things like that. Now, any type of business that you open is going to require you to have business insurance. So the last point here, you want to list who your general liability provider is and your yearly amount and coverage policy. And to get general liability insurance for your business, you could just first start by, if you own a home or if you have a car, you could contact them. They all kind of cover general liability insurance, and kind of get a quote and go from there. The next section is your competition section. You want to list your top 4 competitors with their address, so we know where they're located at and how close they are to you. I always get this from clients. I don't have any competition. There's no competition out there. I'm the only one doing this. You know, maybe it's not a matter of direct competitors as it is indirect competition. There was a woman, she wanted to open a Peruvian restaurant, and she said, I don't have anyone. I don't have anyone. But a block away, there was, you know, a Ruby Tuesdays located on the corner. And I said, well, that's competition. Maybe it's not the exact type of food, but it's still a form of indirect competition. So keep that in mind when you're doing that. First, list your direct competitors and then list your indirect competitors. And then what you really want to do in this section is highlight your business's competitive advantage. How are you going to be competitive? Is it going to be the quality of service? Is it going to be your pricing is better? Are you going to have a niche? Things like that. So really highlight what your competitive advantage is going to be over your competitors.
Can you give examples of
Sure.
the indirect competition?
Sure. So like I said, so if you use an example for a restaurant, maybe I'm going to open a Mexican restaurant and I'm going to look at all the other Mexican restaurants in the area. So, La Tolteca would be my direct competition. Margarita Azul would be a direct competitor because they're all cooking the same type of food I am. But if you look at your indirect, you're still going to have like your pizza places, all those other places that are offering food, just not the specific type of food you're looking for. Does that make sense? You good?
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of like e-commerce. So people that are looking to do, again, starting during a pandemic, if we're doing e-commerce business or online meetings and services or products, what then becomes your indirect competition since it's totally open?
Well, are you selling all types of products and services?
So so all right, we'll stick with the restaurants. So I've seen some small businesses and restaurants. I do economic development. So what I do is I take these classes so that I can send my clients to you.
Okay.
To do these, and then also have a better understanding of prepping them. So when they come to you with a draft and I use your outline. So,
Okay.
and I work with Dorothy. Dorothy
Okay.
all the time. So one of the things that I've seen some of the smaller businesses do, and I think it's great that they were innovative. And let's say you have a pizza company or you have a pizza restaurant or a pizzeria, and now you're not allowed to serve the public. So you created pizza kits. And you could be selling them online, or you could be, doing pickup and people stop in and grab a kit. What then? And again, this being a living document, I'm thinking of the whole adjusting. And we've got a lot of businesses saying during a pandemic, like, what do I do? Well, look at how you can either now go after that same market you had, change how you offer your product or service. But then what then becomes an indirect market for them? So if we stay in the restaurant arena and they're now again, your direct competition would be your other pizza places doing the same thing, or, the Mexican restaurant is offering taco kits to go or whatever. But when you're doing it online and you switch to an e-commerce, what then becomes your indirect? Is it everybody selling things online? Like, does HelloFresh become one of your indirect competitors? So those are the
could
things
be.
right. And that's what I'm trying to conceptualize in looking at how to diversify your product line and who then becomes indirect.
Okay. And again, when you start getting to online, it's going to really be specifically the type of things that you're selling online. I mean, Amazon has everything for everyone, but then I've had clients who have a niche market and are just selling lingerie online. So I think, but yet Amazon still covers, like intimate apparel. So I would look at them more as an indirect competitor than I would as a direct competitor. Whereas a direct competitor online selling this, selling the exact same stuff, lingerie, and really focus on that category would be my direct competition.
Also, Chrissy, I want to point out too, you can hear me. I'm Jackie Escobar, another consultant at the SBDC. I also, when you switch over to e-commerce, I believe that marketing also plays a very strong competition added into e-commerce. So whatever your marketing platform is or campaign, that also plays a factor in that as well.
Sure.
Because you get a broader audience on that.
Absolutely. So going into marketing, we talked about it a little bit. The next section of the business plan is your marketing plan. And this is certainly going to be important. How are you going to get your name out there? Basic industry market research, we actually provide that for a lot of our clients. So having us do research for you or us doing research for clients, is just part of our normal routine at the Small Business Development Center. The nice part about us is we have access to different research tools that the general public just wouldn't have access to. So really the bulk of the industry research, where your industry is growing, how it's been affected by coronavirus, we'll provide you with that. You are going to want to list who your target market is. There should be a small group of specific people that you're targeting, and you want to list their similar characteristics. So whether that's, maybe they're in a certain location, maybe they have a certain education level, maybe they're female opposed to male, or there's an age range for them. Really define your target market. Another thing that we do provide is demographic research. So depending on what county or city you're opening in, we will help you pull that research and kind of get that demographic research in your business plan for you. SWOT analysis, it's always nice to have in your marketing plan. This may not be the most important point in your plan, but I think it's a good thing for you to know. What are your business's strengths? What are the business's weaknesses? What will be the opportunities? What are some of the threats? I really think that this is just a good, tool for you to use and apply to your business plan.
It's iced tea, not wine.
So you certainly want to keep that in mind. And again, it's something we would talk about during the consulting process. What is the best way for you to advertise? Can you guys hear me? Because my thing just came up that my connection isn't stable.
No, we had lost you again.
Okay. Where did you lose me at? Marketing channels?
As you were going into that, you had talked about having SWOT as a good idea and then
yeah, and then just all the marketing channels, how you plan to advertise. Like I said, social media, are you going to have TV ads, newspaper ads? Are you going to be joining your local chamber of commerce? These are all forms of advertising for a small business. You want to list how much you plan to spend on marketing each year, so you kind of have a budget for yourself. And then any discount plans or policies that you may incorporate with the business. Subway gives you that card when you pick up a sub, and they keep punching out a hole every time you get another sub until you get one free. So anything like that you're thinking about doing, discount plans or policies, you could list in this section. Ownership. This is going to be everything about the owner of the business. So your educational background, work experience, specific licenses. If you have a resume as the owner of the business, you could kind of bypass this section and just say, see appendix for resume, and you would put the resume into the appendix of your business plan. Management and personnel, you're going to want to list the number of full-time employees and part-time employees. You want job titles for each person and a job description for each. And then how much you plan to pay your employees. And then any type of professional service you may utilize for the business, so whether it's an accountant or an attorney, you would want to put into this section. The next section is going to be your financial analysis section. And I just put this in here. We're not going to go into much detail in this because, like I said, next week we're doing the financial projection part of the seminar. But what the financial analysis is, and I usually help my clients do this, it's an explanation of your sales projections, how you arrived at those sales figures. You know, one thing we always say is you kind of want to be conservative with your revenues and overestimate your expenses. So in this section, we kind of explain everything we do to develop your projections. And then there's your appendix. And really what the appendix section is any type of supporting material for the business plan. So some things that usually go into the appendix. If you're going to have a restaurant, you know, we ask for a menu. If you're purchasing a new building, pictures of the location, your resume. If you are purchasing a building, we need the sales agreement. If you're purchasing an existing business, the bank is going to require you to have the last 3 years of tax returns on the business. So again, the appendix is really just gathering information and putting it into the end of the plan as supporting material. And that's the business plan outline. Some pitfalls, like I mentioned to you in the beginning, what we said we were going to discuss, you know, one thing, and this is really important, when you're writing your business plan, you want to make sure that everything's consistent. So I actually had a client who came to me and he had paid someone to write his business plan and he didn't get the financing and they told him to come to our office so we could help them. And the biggest pitfall with it was it wasn't consistent. So, you know, when you're listing your sources and uses of funds in your executive summary, when you move to your projections, you know, your startup expenses, they're going to match. You know, some of the narrative section asks for financial data, like a marketing budget. You want to make sure that that marketing expense in your financial projections matches what that budget is in your business plan. So this is what we're talking about when we say consistency. Clarity, this kind of goes back to the big idea versus details. I know a lot of people like to tell their life story in a business plan or why they're opening this business, but you really want to use the factual data, you know, and then use support, like use any type of, if you're saying, you know, this data is known, the industry is expected to grow this much, make sure you cite your source. Be real. You know, everybody wants to make a lot of money when they open their own business, to be honest with you. You know, your first few years of business may be a struggle and you have to realize that because the lender does. The lender knows that you're not going to be making $3 million off the bat, no matter how much experience you have in the industry. Flexibility, you know, predicting the unpredictable, all the things for decision making and things like that. Make sure your plan outlines, you know, who's doing what in your business, who's making big decisions if something fails. You know, keep that all in mind when you're writing the plan. And then that's the business plan outline. Does anybody have any questions or comments? All right, well, I'm going to turn it over to Jolene then if there's nothing, no questions.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I was trying to unmute myself. I have two questions really.
Sure.
My first question, in the executive summary section, where you have to put down the owner's experience, what if this is a brand new startup business in a brand new field? You've never You just done research about it for years, something you want to do, but you've never
Mhm.
actually physically worked in that field. What would you include in that portion? How would I write that?
Is there any way that you would be able to, maybe work in a business that does have that type of experience, that would provide you with that type of experience? Just because the lenders really like to see character and that you have some type of experience. If you're thoroughly knowledgeable in that area, you could kind of write about the knowledge you
Mhm.
possess in that paragraph
Okay.
and the research that you've
Okay.
done. Okay.
Thank you. And my second question about the location. So my business would be primarily
Mhm.
short-term rentals, Airbnb hosting. So it wouldn't be like a specific like restaurant at this address operating 24/7, but
Mhm.
it'll be multiple houses operating as a, Airbnb. How would I
Right.
do that as far as location?
So you're going to probably use your address, your home address as the location for the business.
Okay.
And then you want to explain all these other properties and their addresses, but the business address would be, wherever your office is going to be
Okay.
and where the mail is going to be sent.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions before we wrap up tonight's webinar?
No, and thank you for everything.
I'd like to
Thank you.
thank you, Chris,
Thank you very much.
here with us this afternoon. And I have just a few housekeeping notes. For reference, I will be making this available, the recording of the training, on the Wilkes University SBDC YouTube channel for you. And I will email that link to all attendees in case you'd like to review the webinar or have any questions. Our next session in the pandemic series will be next Tuesday, February 2nd at 5 p.m. And that will be on preparing financial projections, as Chrissy noted. And I will send out an email prior to that session with a Zoom link to remind everyone. And with that, I just want to thank everyone for attending today's session. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at the SBDC. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you all at the next session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.